Hi, welcome back. Part 2 of the 10 essential types of products that you need for healthy, happy skin. In Thursday's video, I did the 2 types of cleansers I think everybody should have to hand and the cloths that you must cleanse with. I then did hyaluronic acids, I did antioxidants, and I did moisturisers. So that was a slightly sort of heavier video because that was the first 6. I'm now going to do the next 4, but I do think in a way these are the problem-solving parts of your skincare. The first 6 in Thursday's videos were basically just how to keep your skin basic, healthy, happy. They're the absolute back to basics skin products that I think everybody should have in their routine. These are the problem solvers, the problem shooters. These are the ones that are really going to take you up to the next level. Let's start with SPFs. Everybody should be wearing an SPF every single day. Why should you wear an SPF every single day? Because an SPF, or a sun filter as I should say, protects your skin against the damaging effects of the sun, and research shows time and time again that 80% of the visible signs of skin aging are caused by sunlight. And I am sitting here on a relatively cloudy day, despite the fact that it's July. Probably the UV index out there at the moment is 2, but I'm still sitting in front of a window, which is why I've got an SPF with in my foundation on my face. Now, I'm slightly controversial when it comes to SPFs. I know people that cover themselves in SPFs every single day, year round, and most dermatologists will tell you to do that. I think if I'm not leaving the house, I'm happy to get my SPF in my makeup, which is an SPF 50. It's the IT Cosmetics CC cream. But if you want an SPF, how do you find an SPF to use every single day, and where does it fit in your routine that is as unobtrusive and as least greasy as possible? And I have to say, honestly, 3 or 4 years ago, I would be having this conversation and I'd be like, oh, it's so hard to find them. It's not now. I've done an Instagram IGTV, and I've done, what have I done? I've done tinted SPFs previously here last week. I've done lightweight gel SPFs. SPFs are better than they've ever been before, but I'm going to pick 3 here. Now, here's where they go in your routine. They are the very, very, very last step before your makeup, which means, depending on the formulation and the finish you choose, they can replace your moisturiser. Simple as. So you don't need your moisturiser. So you would cleanse, you'd use a hyaluronic acid, use an antioxidant, then goes in with your SPF. If you want a tinted one, look at HelioCare. If you've got the budget, HelioCare do amazing ones. So do SVR. This is my current favourite. This is the HelioCare Colour Gel Oil Free Bronze. I do like a little bit of a tint with my my SPF, and it's a super lightweight serum, hydrating serum that you just buff into your skin. And it will give you that soft focus, slightly sort of Vita Liberata body blur finish for your face. A little bit of concealer, you're ready to go on days off. Paula's Choice does as usual, as you would expect from somebody who is obsessed. She is obsessed with SPFs. She wears them all the time. If we were sitting here now, she'd be telling me how much my skin is being aggressed through that blind and that window. She's basically a righteous SPF warrior. Anyway, perfect case in point, Essential Glow Moisturiser Broad Spectrum SPF 30 from Paula's Choice would exactly go to replace something like your CeraVe or your Indeed Hydrolon from last Thursday's video. It's really lovely, absolutely beautiful. She creates really, really lovely, lightweight, broad spectrum products. So you've got a version of a tinted one, you've got a version of a moisturiser one, but if you just want anything to go on top of your skincare, then without a doubt the L'Oreal group do the best liquid ones. So there is this one, which is the SkinCeuticals UV Sheer Mineral Defense SPF 50. Directly inspired by this, you've got the shaker bottles from ROCHE, and you've got the brand new ultra sensitive skin fluid SPF 50 from Garnier that's currently £7. They're surprisingly similar. They are literally as light as Indeed Hydration Booster. So they're so easy to put on. They go really well under makeup. SPF 50, gold standard. The only reason you need, ideally, an SPF 50 is because you're never going to apply the teaspoon, the level teaspoon you need from go to here. It's half a teaspoon for your face and another half a teaspoon for here. You're never going to apply that amount of product, I doubt very much. So go for an SPF 50, and then the chances are you'll probably get away with an SPF 25 or 30, which is enough for most people because I presume you're smart, intelligent people and you're not sunbathing. Anyway, that's where your SPF goes. It goes directly after your antioxidant, and if you feel like you're getting too many products on, ditch the moisturiser. So many of them are super hydrating now. Now, acids. Where do acids come and why do you need an acid? Well, in Thursday's video, I talked about the fact that if you use a cloth as part of your cleansing routine and you're using it efficiently and effectively, you're exfoliating every single day. It's the exfoliant our parents used. Our parents grew up just using flannels. And I look at my mum's skin when she was younger and it was flawless. She wasn't using really any of these products. So you kind of only need an acid as and when. Now, I've said this before, I know people that use acid lotions every single day. I'm not a fan. I don't see the point in putting an acid on in the morning and then layering on skincare and SPF, because the whole point of an acid is to get your skin to slowly shed. Why would you want to shed your skin during the day when the whole point of everything you're putting on the skin is to lock in moisture, lock in antioxidants and protect your skin, top it off with an SPF? Why would you want any of that to shed off? Makes no sense to me. Lots of people disagree with me. I like my acids at night, and here's how I use my acids. I would use my acid depending on my skin's needs, and I would use it and I would leave it on my skin overnight to get to work. Perfect case in point, got a breakout, PAULA'S Choice 2% BHA gel. I would put this on a spot, on blackheads, leave it on overnight. I would in fact only use it where I've got the blemish or the ingrown hair or whatever I've got. That's what it's for, it's perfect. And the reason I like the gel, there's a liquid and a lotion. I find the liquid quite oily. It's not an oil, it's a solvent. The lotion I really like, it's quite milky. The reason I like the gel is because I don't have wide areas of blemishes. I have specific blemishes, and that's how I can put my acids on. I personally, because I'm older and my skin's getting drier, love a lactic acid. Lactic acid is my first choice of acid for somebody that's never used an acid before. It's salicylic acid is a beta hydroxy acid, so it's a fairly large molecule, but it sort of deep dives into pores because it's lipophilic, it's attracted to oil. All the others are alpha hydroxy acids. Alpha hydroxy acids are smaller molecules that are attracted to water, so they tend to go into the gaps between cells and break up the dead skin cells. Personally, if you've never used an acid before and you want to know where to start, look for a lactic acid. I've got Garden of Wisdom's lactic acid 5% serum here, and my gold standard is Good Genes Original Sunday Riley lactic acid. I really like it, but it's expensive and you needn't spend that much money on an acid. I want to bring lactic acids back. I do think they are really lovely. Originally derived from fermented milk and yogurts, a byproduct of the dairy industry. Now obviously they're bio-fermented in labs, but they still retain an ability to be slightly hydrating on the skin. If you've got pigmentation problems, I would suggest a malic acid and a glycolic acid combo. If you've got sensitive skin, you can do a polyhydroxy acid, but I do think a lactic acid is a good all-rounder. The exception to the rule is always, if you've got breakouts and blackheads, it needs to be a BHA salicylic acid, because it's the only one that's lipophilic, as in it's attracted to oil. The others are all hydrophilic, where they're attracted to water. So you want your acid to get into your pores if you've got blackheads or breakouts. So that's where your acid goes. Your acid is probably only at the most once a week if you're exfoliating your skin really well. It's that simple. You really don't need to use it that often. This is my personal experience of using these products. The next step I'm obviously going to say is going to be a retinol. And a retinol is a vitamin A derivative, and what it does is it essentially sits on the surface of the skin, delivers the vitamin A over the course of the hours while you sleep, and then what it does is it's a precursor in the skin to something called retinoic acid, which is pretty much the gold standard active ingredient in your skin. And you can get it on prescription in something called tretinoin or retin-A from a dermatologist, or online something like Dermatica, but you really don't need it unless you've got severe sun damage, or for a lot of people it works really well on acne. The background to retin-A or tretinoin, retinoic acid, they're all manufacturers' names for retinoic acid, is it was originally developed to treat acne. It was being prescribed in America, and then when the mothers of the teenagers who had acne broke out, they started using their children's prescription product, and they also noticed in the process of having sort of menopause or breakouts that their pigmentation and their fine lines started to disappear. Then the research was done on it, and they realised actually what was happening was the vitamin A within the skin was normalising skin function, optimising skin function. So it was making your skin cells turn over slightly more quickly, but it was also making sure that the manufacture of the pigment cell was slightly lessened, so you were getting less of the age spots, and the collagen and the elastin was boosted, so you were getting slightly less lines. don't expect it to turn back the clock overnight. When I was doing a live with Wayne was saying he's using Tret now for a year, retinoic acid for a year. His skin looks okay, but he hasn't noticed any huge differences. Unless you've got specific problems, so unless you've got clumps of pigmentation, unless you've got deep lines, unless you've got severe sun damage, which you see a lot in countries like Australia and South Africa and America, obviously parts of America on each coast where you get a lot of sunshine. I personally don't feel I need the retinoic acid in my routine, but I do regularly tell people who've got pigmentation issues and melasma and acne to seek out a dermatologist to prescribe it for them. What I use is a weaker version, which is retinol, and basically all forms of vitamin A are converted in the skin through a series of metabolic pathways. So you start with the precursors, so retinol palmitate, things like that. Then they become retinol in the skin, so basically the enzymes in your skin break it down to release the retinol. Then it becomes retinal, which you can actually get from Medicate. Then it becomes retinoic acid in the skin. So obviously the further up your metabolic pathway you are, the stronger the product. Personally, I'm a 1% retinol girl. I always have been. So perfect case in point, I've been using PAULA'S Choice 1% retinol treatment for a long time, on and off. I'm currently using Medicate R retinoate, which is a combination of a retinol precursor and retinal. And I'm really liking it, and I use it and I forget I'm using it, and it's really lightweight. It's quite heavily fragranced, but I use it on freshly cleansed skin at night. I don't buffer it out because my skin is fairly tight, and I think my skin's wake up, got a nice glow, skin feels really nice, totally hydrating enough. Both of those are totally hydrating enough for me to use on their own. Then what happens is 3 days later, I'm in the shower and I'm like, why is my skin rolling off? Obviously. And it started boosting the skin cells turnover again. It's making my skin behave slightly younger again. And you just have to remember that every 3 days, you're going to peel slightly. I do anyway, you might not. If you are going to introduce a retinol into your routine, I suggest you, and I would probably recommend it for most people over 40, I suggest you start at 0.3%. So something like the new number 7 is perfect case in point. It's a 1.5 retinol complex. It's 0.3% retinol, buffered with niacinamide and a really nice delivery action. And it's really easy to find a 0.3%. Perfect case in point would be Vichy or La Roche-Posay, both do 0.3%. SKINCEUTICALS do as well. Most products that have got retinol in them, if they don't have a percentage written on them, tend to sit around 0.3%. It's a maximum effect, minimum irritation window of opportunity. But by the time you get to my age, and if you've been using it a long time, I've been using retinol for the better part of probably 8 years, 1% is not going to be a problem. So there you go. You use the retinol 6 nights a week, you use the acid on the 7th night, or you use the retinol 5 days a week and use the acid twice a week, depending on what problems you're trying to tackle. But I do think that if you don't have any problems, then you would be using your acids most nights. If you're trying to tackle breakouts, if you're trying to tackle pigmentation, you probably use your acids 2 or 3 nights a week, and then your retinol on the other nights. I know people that layer acids with retinol. I don't. I don't want to risk irritating my skin. The only time I ever layered a really strong acid, which I think was the Sunday Riley one, I'd been using a Retin A actually, and I burnt my face really badly and it went really thick and then just peeled off in a massive sheet, which can't have been good for my skin. I mean, the whole point, you know, you've heard of inflammaging, which is basically long-term chronic inflammation and how bad it is for your skin. Don't use products that are going to risk irritating your skin unless you've got a huge payoff, which is the payoff with retinol when your skin gets used to it. Now look at problem solvers, and you might not need problem solvers because you might not have any problem skin. I would sit that in the problem solver thing. I keep that to hand. Honestly, hand on heart, this is a brand new packaging. On my side is the original packaging that I've had forever, because I'm very lucky. I don't often get breakouts or blackheads, but I basically keep it. It's almost like a medicine chest for skin. So in that medicine chest, I would keep a 1% hydrocortisone for all allergic irritations and reactions to products. I would keep a BHA. I would keep a soothing serum like the La Roche-Posay DERMALLERGO, which has got a dipeptide in it that soothes and calms the skin's barrier function. And I would keep something like Clinisept, which is my antimicrobial spray that I use on cold sores or irritated scalps or irritated earrings and earlobes, anything that is just irritated and not very comfortable. I would also use this on my perioral dermatitis. So there you go. It's really, really quite simple. So don't overthink your skincare, please don't worry about it. Thursday's video was all about the absolute bog standard brilliant skincare buys that you can get to keep your skin healthy and happy. These are the problem solvers. I hope that helps. Any questions? Ask below. I actually am better, much better, at answering questions on Instagram. And what I like is I like people to have a conversation here, and I do dip in and out and answer questions. But what I like people to do is ask me questions on a public forum. So yes, people ask me DMs, but if you can actually ask under a picture or video, I will then answer, and that remains in the public domain so that other people can go in, read the feed and learn. Otherwise it's the same questions being asked time and time again, i.e. should I use vitamin C and retinol at night? Yes, if you can get away with it, do a test pass first is the answer to that. I use my vitamin C in the morning and my retinol at night, but I don't have particularly heavy pigmentation issues, probably because I've been using vitamin C and retinol for the last 10 years. I don't deserve the skin I've got. Trust me, I battered it when I was a teenager and in my 20s and early 30s, in the sun mainly. Anyway, don't overthink things. Ask me questions, but try to ask them on a public forum so that everybody can then go ahead and read the answers. This is just things I've learned over the last 30 years and from talking to an awful lot of formulating chemists and dermatologists. These are the active ingredients that work. Don't be fooled into thinking the more you pay for a product, the better it is. Please don't do that. Never get your credit card out to pay for a beauty product if you don't have the cash or the ability to pay the credit card off at the end of the month. Don't go into debt for beauty products. Beauty products on the high street are better now than ever, and I am a proud champion of that fact. I really am. I champion them. I'm not a champion, I don't have my own range, although a lot of you have asked me to do it. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.